Oscar Bevis, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted to be joined by the IBF flyweight champion of the world, Sonny Edwards. How are you, bro?
Yeah, I'm good. That sounds good. That little, I can get used to that.
I'll say that was going to be my next question. How good does that sound? But it's been 5 days. You milked it, and rightly so as well, I have to say. It must just feel unreal just thinking about, the last 5 days.
Um, Kind of, but I feel people keep telling me, "Oh, it's gonna sink in. It's gonna sink in. It's not sunk in yet." But I'm already looking forward to what's next. Like this was just a step, the thing I needed to claim in order to be talking how I've been talking all this time. You know what I mean? This is sort of validated a lot of what I've been saying and claiming of how good I am and how good I can be. So now the hard work starts. I've got a big old target on my back now, bounty hunter. So it comes with the territory, you know. So yeah, I'm looking forward to all the big fights that are going to be out in front of me where perhaps they weren't before. And I was always chasing. I was trying to corner people into the ring and you know build up that way. But yeah, now I think I'm sort of would probably be the man that most people would want to fight out of them world champions. I'd guess. Um, I'd guess that, but who knows? You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm excited to be amongst it.
Yeah. Before we talk about the future, how's the body? You put a picture of your foot on Twitter that we all really needed to see, so cheers for that. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
seriously, have you recovered?
yeah, that wasn't even the worst, to be fair. All my shoulders and my neck have been aching for the last few days. I can't lie. Felt like I got run over. I really did feel like I got run over when I woke up the next morning. But yeah, it's pretty much all there today. I was down in the gym today watching a couple of the lads spar, and I should have brought my kit down really because I would have probably put it to use if I did. Yeah, just getting straight back in the gym and like I said, focusing on what's next. I, I know my management team there all and my promoter Frank are gonna piece together what's next and when it's next. But yeah, no injuries coming out of that last fight, which is the first time in a couple of fights. So I'm buzzing with that. And I'm just looking forward to finding out where we go from here. I mean, this is where really they can sort of have fun promoting me now. They can actually promote me, and it's not just sort of smoke and mirrors. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. One thing I know you haven't done, because I saw you tweet this as well, is you haven't overwatched the fight. You would have watched it, but you don't watch your fights back too much because you don't think they're that interesting, is what you said.
Yeah, that's like because you know I'll be real with you. Yeah, obviously the stakes are usually a lot higher in the fight, but I do better consistently through all my spars and so therefore when the fights are perhaps closer than what the spars are or what I can do, I don't really like it. I don't really like watching myself get hit too much, and I got hit quite a bit in that fight. So yeah, it's my world title fight, and yes, I won, and a lot of people are calling it a masterclass, but for me, there's a hell of a lot of work still to go into me, my style, maturing as a professional. Like there's still a lot to work with, and I feel like I can't just sit there and sort of re-watch over and over again because then I start really finding all the flaws. Do you know what I mean? So first time I watched it back, I thought, yeah, I did wicked then. Second time I watched it back, I was looking at it as more of a negative stance, like a more of a, you know, like with more of a critical eye, should I say? And I know I need to work on now. And yeah, that's it. I liked it when they put out the highlights. I watched the 8-minute highlights that BT put out yesterday after their media ban came to an end, social media ban. So
That's all the good stuff. That's why, because that's all the good bits.
Yeah, but there's a whole lot of Moretti in that. I thought, who are they promoting here? I thought, no, it was I'm typically not one that watches it loads and loads back, but I probably will every now and then, you know, put that one back on just for the memories and whatnot. I like the interviews of that. I've really enjoyed watching, like the ones with me, Frank, the ones with me and Lyndon. It's like they're good memories that are sort of they're cemented now. They're never gonna go nowhere. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's been a great experience. But like I said, it's just the beginning. It really is. One world title was never in my plan. Do you know what I mean? It's always been multi weight, hopefully as well. But yeah, I'm going to be here for a long time. So that was just the sort of first step.
Yeah. Well, I know that watching a fight ringside and watching a fight on TV is different. How different is it being in there? Because you come out on the broadcast and said you thought you might have nicked it by a couple of rounds. I mean, he didn't. If you watch it on TV, he didn't lay a glove on you. Is what it looked like. So how different is it in the ring, and then when you watch it back for the first time?
I'm a really harsh critic, especially whilst I'm in there. Any sort of relatively competitive close rounds I usually give against me that way when I'm sort of doing the tally up through the fight. I know the rounds I've definitely won. And I know the rounds that maybe I think I could have won, but do you know what I mean? When they get to a certain level of competitiveness, I sort of chalk them up against me. Watching it back, I did have the fight 10-2, maybe 9-2 in a drawn round. Maybe the 9th, the 11th I gave to him, and the 10th was the closest one. I think rounds 1 to 8 I won, and I think I won the last as well. But that being said, I'm not a judge, you know. So, but it was just a hard fight. It was harder than probably any fight I've ever had. So I was constantly having to think. I didn't get a chance to switch off in that fight. He didn't give me a moment's rest or a moment's respite to have like mental breaks. I had to sort of still them and lick them myself the whole way through the fight, you know, tying him up, changing the angles, sort of hitting him when he weren't trying to work, etc. Yeah, it was a good game plan that was executed well on the night, I think, and it showed, because everything Grant was telling me in those rounds we'd spoke about for months before this fight, and I didn't really realize that until I watched the BT version back the second time. So I watched a YouTube one when it was on the night of the fight, coming back with the whole team. We all watched it in the bus. And then the day or two later, my friends were around and put it on BT. So I actually first time listened to the corner and the whole show, as it were. And yeah, Grant did a fantastic job, and I'm lucky to have such a man in my corner.
Yeah. I'm just going to talk theoretically here, and this is something that I thought I really want to ask you, but you don't have to say anything in case you feel like maybe you're giving tips to future opponents, whatever. But if you were Maruti, other than land clean on the chin, because it felt like that's what we were waiting for. It's if Sonny's not going to win, it's because Maruti's waiting to land on his chin, right? But other than that, what could he have done to have a chance in that fight, would you say?
Yeah, well, that's it. He had to catch me. He had to catch me clean. He had to hurt me, and he had to bury me. I think that's what everyone has to do with me, to be honest. He just didn't have it in him. Didn't find it on the night. Do you know what I mean? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he has aged. Maybe he hasn't. I know for a fact he was still very, very dangerous, because I know the fighter that I thought was a very good fighter, up there with it's probably the best I've ever been in a ring with. So I know that he's still operating at a very high level, because I've been in boxing 16 years now. I know what's good, what's not, what's shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, and he is a very elite fighter. Like the amount he made me work, and how much I had to stay switched on, and the amount he was making me make him miss. Do you know what I mean? It's like he was forcing all of that out of me. Do you know what I mean? He really, really was, and he was landing more than probably anyone else has ever landed. Do you know what I mean? I think CompuBox had him down for 100 shots or thereabouts. But he had to catch me. He had to get me, and he didn't. And these other fighters will have to do the same thing. I'm a very hard person to outbeat, and any of the elite professionals typically will always struggle to outscore me, because they've not got to their eliteness by being good scorers. They've been good knockout people that can bully people. Do you know what I mean? And with me, these fighters will try and bully me, but it doesn't happen because I'm not there for them to do it. So therefore they're chasing and forcing things all night long. So I mean, and constantly, and then they end up wasting their opportunities by overthinking, because the last 2 times I weren't there, but then the third time I was, and then they didn't throw it. Do you know what I mean? But that's how I play. I play mind games. I play mental chess rather than, you know, sort of physical warfare, as it were. So I don't know how someone's gonna beat me, to be honest, over 12 rounds, because I've never been beat over 12 rounds, and in sparring, I'd rather have 10 or 12 rounds with somebody than 4 or 6. Just naturally, it's just I'm like a learning fighter. I'm gauging what they're doing, and I'm soaking the information up every round I'm in with them. So I don't know. I'm not saying I'm unbeatable. I just always say on my day I'm a very hard man to beat. I've said that for years because of my style. It is so elusive, awkward, tricky, and some people may say negative, but I feel like I do negate what's coming forward. It doesn't matter how they could punch ridiculously hard, harder than Maruti even, and because every time they're throwing, I'm not walking onto the shots and doubling up the impact, and their timing then starts really counting for very little. Do you know what I mean? It's because every time they're reacting or going to load up a shot, even set their feet, I'm adjusting, moving and offsetting them and getting their balance all over the place, having chasing shadows and falling over their front foot and swinging and missing wide. Do you know what I mean? And it's them sort of things that help me win the rounds that are a bit closer, because there's periods when I'm making them look quite silly at times. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see why BT get you on punditry. You are unbelievable at breaking down the sort of even more than the fundamentals of boxing. But anyway, just a quick word on Maruti, because he's a charming fella. Obviously, people have seen the interviews you've done in a week. Yeah, and I know you've got all the respect in the world for him. We saw a little clip of you like shaking his hand, taking pictures and that. Just a little word on Maruti, because it could be the end of what has been a fantastic career, possibly.
Well, if it is the end, I mean, it would be sad to see him bow out like that for just general boxing. Obviously, great for me, but we like to see our legends go out on wins and on highs. We do, and he is really he's a flyweight boxing legend. You know, world boxing. He really is. Hasn't got the accolades that he deserves, but you've got to remember, like, how many people know Maruti because of all the different corners of the world he's gone around to fight the best they've got. Do you know what I mean? Now, anyone that watched my fight will know who he is. Likewise, when he's been in Japan XYZ amount of times or wherever else he's fought. But I think he's still got a lot left in the tank. I would like to see him have one more run out, and because people think, oh, well, if he can't beat Sonny, he's finished. But like I said, I'm a hard person to beat. It's not like I've sort of stood there toe-to-toe with him and blasted him out or had that firefight with him and come out the better. It weren't that. I boxed him and moved him. If I stood there with him, he would have ironed me out. That's facts. I couldn't stand there and fight with him. No way. Like, it would have been stupid for me to do so, and I wouldn't be sitting here now as the new world champion. In fact, I know that. I know my limitations. Being self-aware is very important. But I know just from who I've been in the ring with, amateur and pro, who I've sparred with, both amateur and pro, Maruti is very, very still much up there. And if you chuck him in against another good fighter that he's giving him nightmares, like, he's still very much up there. So I would like to see him bow out on that. I really wouldn't. Obviously, that fight put absolute 0 miles on his clock. Really, let's be real. It's not like it was a hard physical fight for him. It was probably much harder mentally than anything. Yeah, I would like to see him. I would like to see him out again. I would personally, and I think he would. There's a lot of people out there in the world, the large majority that he would beat, definitely.
Yeah, I just want to talk about Uncle Frank. Obviously, you look at his reaction. He's had a tough time recently as well with some of his lads, but he was buzzing. And you look at what he's seen in his time in the sport as well, when he was standing there putting it with some of the best ever world title performances he's ever seen. Like, some accolade, I suppose.
Yeah, me and Uncle Frank, we've got a good relationship. We have got a good relationship, and he's had me since my 3rd professional fight. He's built me well. He's promoted me well, and long may it continue now.
Didn't you try and give him the strap?
Yeah, I said you needed that one, Frank. That one's for you. That, and he went, "Nah, I can't take your first one, but I'll have your second one though." He said, "So we'll have to see what goes on there." But no, Frank's looked after me. So between him, my advisor Daniel, and my manager at MTK, and so I really do feel like I have 3 of the best people in boxing looking out for me. Do you know what I mean? It really is like the Avengers have assembled, and I'm in a very good place. I'm a British champion when there's not all too many British champions as well. So I've kind of put my name up there and thereabouts, and in a good performance, really, I've got a lot of good feedback. I know there is a few people that are standing there saying, "No, but he just ran." But one thing about me and what you'll find with me is, when I box, you'll either have the people that want me to win that are sort of cheering on every little slip, every little counter, every little clever bit of work I'm doing. But then you'll have the other people that want to see me get knocked out, who are just begging that my legs run out and begging that I stand there and trade for that little bit too long. And that just says everything you need to know. Do you know what I mean? So I don't mind, again, splitting people. I think my personality splits people, so it's only right that my boxing style splits people. Yeah, I'm in a great place. I've been in a great place for a long time with boxing. I have, and now I've sort of got the biggest win under my belt. Probably the biggest win at flyweight for a few years. Do you know what I mean? So the others will take notice now. And probably like everyone else has always done, they'll probably look at me and think, nah, I'd get to him. I'll knock him out. He wouldn't be able to do that. I'd make him tired. But we'll see. You know, time will tell. Like I've said time and time again, I want the biggest fights, the best fights, the fights that the fans want to see, because they're also going to be the fights that I want to be in. If I can clear up this division, then already I'm sort of getting mentioned in I'm already getting mentioned in the sort of the legions of such great fighters that have come out of this country. So if I can unify a division, then that'll just put me. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, that'll just put me in great stead. Like I said, I want to be here for a long time. I want to keep operating at this level for a long time, and I want to keep proving it to myself, to my fans, to my supporters, to my doubters, the team that I have around me, and like I said, I'm a very loyal person. I've had the same management team since my debut. I've had my trainer now was my amateur coach, who I've been with for 7, coming on 8 years, without the 6-month hiatus when I first turned pro. I'm a trainer with Danny Vaughan over in Marbella, and now with Frank. Like, look, he's been my 3rd fight, all the way to my 16th, delivered me the world title, and long may it continue. I mean, as long as these people keep doing right by me, I'll keep doing right by them. And boxing's an honest sport. You find out the winner in the ring, and I'm glad that the decision was, you know, it was the general consensus, the right man won. I haven't had one person say that you didn't deserve to win. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I wanted, because any sort of anything apart from that, you know, when there's big question marks on the win, it takes the sweetness away. Do you know what I mean? So I'm very sportsmanlike. People have underestimated that I need everything fair. I like things being fair. I don't try and look for no little outside, little grey area advantages. I don't try and sneak little 1%, 2% chances. I like things being fair, and that's how I get my kicks. You know what I mean? Knowing that I've done it the fair way, I've done it the hard way, I've done it the right way. I went and faced the Ring Magazine #1. You know, so yeah, I'm happy with everything that I said that I wanted to do and could do. I've actually gone out and proved not to everyone else, but to myself as well. Because even though I believed it for a long time, there's one thing now coming out of the ring is, yeah, what I've been saying is right. Do you know what I mean? I even sort of called how the fight was going to go, how I was going to box, how I was going to win. I got it all quite spot on, to be honest. I did. I got it quite spot on, and hopefully this is just the start now of what's to come next. You know, because I've already seen the difference, how people treat you as just a world title challenger, now a world title champion. I'm looking forward to seeing where that takes me. I've already had some brands, you know, wanting to get me on their books, trying to put pen to paper and whatnot. So yeah, it's good. Things changed for a little flyweight from Croydon. You know what I mean? It's good. It's nice. It's nice.
Yeah, living the champ life. Honestly, mate, just seeing the reaction in the boxing world, although it was painful to watch at times and gut-wrenching and nerve-wracking, just knowing we have a new champion. I think we had 13 a few years ago. Now you've got about 5, so I'm absolutely over the moon for you. And I said this to you at the time, I think you've done everyone proud. But you know the sport, you know how it works. Time moves on. People want more. You said you want more. You beat the #1 and you're still listed as the #2. Fucking hell. You can't win.
No, but that's with BoxRec. So I don't know how the Ring are gonna rank me, and so be it if they do rank, you know, Junto or Julio Cesar Martinez above me. So be it, or Dalakayan for that matter. One thing's for sure though is, you know, Eddie knows where Frank's phone number is now after the Bentley cash. fight got made and whatnot, and I know a few meetings were talked about. So I'm sure if Eddie is interested in putting up his flyweight world champion against Frank's flyweight world champion, I'm sure we'll be all ears, and I mean that, because I do want to be considered as a number one. And some people are saying Junto Nakatani should be above me, or is above me right now, but a lot of people are saying Julio Cesar Martinez is above me, and I don't like that. So, you know, Eddie knows where the phone number is. I've tweeted him so many times. Every time that Martinez has fought, I've tweeted him, and he's never replied to me. But maybe now there's a couple of letters attached to my name, you know, Sonny Edwards, IBF. That's what I want to be called now. That's what I want to be like. That's my name now. Not MBE, it's IBF. Right. So now there's a few letters attached to the back end of my name. That might be a fight worth making. It's a fight I'd be very worth, you know, listening to, and a fight that I'd want to sort of cement my place at number one. Because one thing about me is I'm confident of beating anyone, especially at flyweight. Especially at flyweight. I don't think no one's better than me. I really don't. Not over 12 rounds. No, I just don't see it. I don't see how he beats me. Yeah, again, same as Murray, he's got to knock me out. But time and time again, I've proved to people that my reactions are very, very good. I'm very good at avoiding shots. I'm a hard person to hit clean. When I don't want to get hit, I don't get hit. So, yeah, Eddie knows where my number is. Or Frank's or MTK's, anyone. Or just pull it out on Twitter. I'll find it. But yeah, any of the big fights. I think I might have a mandatory. I'm not too sure. I might have a mandatory. That's a hard fight in its own right. So no point me calling too hard for any of these big names, because I might not get there yet. I might get ironed out in the second round of my first defense. So but yeah, I want the big fights. That's all I've ever wanted. And now, regardless of what happens on from now, I'll always have that sort of that bit of my name which sort of steps. You know, once you've been a champion, even if you're a former champion, going into future fights, you've always got that. Oh, well, he was a world champion. Do you know what I mean? So that should help me unlock a lot of these bigger fights that I've been chasing, and get what I want, which is a career littered with loads of good fighters on my record. Win, lose, or draw, I want to fight them all. So there's no, Sonny could have beat him, or do you know what I mean? Or he was way too good for Sonny. I don't want any of that. Let's find out, every single one of them. Let's find out. I don't mind finding out anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's in London, whether it's in Dubai, whether it's in America, Mexico, I'll go anywhere to fight. Japan. You know what I mean? I'll go anywhere to fight.
Yeah. Well, one thing that has arisen, and he isn't a champion, but Mohammed Waseem, I had to bring this up because your names have been linked for years, and of course now you have the jewels. He's very interested, but he wants you to fight to his strengths and not yours. I just want to talk about that little Twitter exchange. Yeah.
What the craziest thing is, and this is on my two babies' life, right? In like January times, maybe even like December, I got offered a couple of fights, right? I got offered a couple of fights. The first fight I got offered, was Mohammed Waseem to fight him. No title on the line.
I remember you saying this,
yeah. I got offered Mohammed Waseem. I didn't ask for how much money. I said yes, right? A couple of weeks later, I'm thinking, do you know what? I'm probably going to get him. It's a no-go. I've got the message from my manager. Waseem is a no-go. I asked why. Bear in mind, this was December, January times, right? He said Ramadan and he's getting married. I've got friends, a lot of friends that are Muslim. And I know when Ramadan started. So he could have had about a 3.5 month camp and a fight before Ramadan kicked in. And a wedding. I had a baby during this whole time. You can't squeeze in a wedding. Do you know what I mean? So he made 2 excuses to not fight me. Then all of a sudden, it's full guns blazing as soon as I've won a world title.
I was going to say, all this. I know you've gone on record saying if someone has turned a fight down when you don't have the goods, they won't get it when you do. So you're keeping that same energy now.
That mainly went for the British fighters, because Waseem does bring a name and brings an attractive fight. He does, you know, and I would fight him because I think he's shit, to be honest. Honestly, like, he's trying to make out that I had a scar under this part of my eye. Yeah, and you can even ask the lads at the gym, Lee McGregor. I had that scar, that mark under my eye months before I went and sparred him, and he tried making out that he busted me up a little bit. And then he posted that video of me after I'd just done 10 rounds with Cash Farouk anyway. Do you know what I mean? That was the interview that so he's trying to make out like he's marked me up in the sparring. Like I don't even need to talk about it too much. When he's showing me disrespect, like you had 8 rounds in a 14-foot ring at MTK Glasgow, and I punched his head in. I'm not gonna name names, right? But one of the fighters in that camp was there and stood with me, stood with Charlie at a show months later and said, I've watched him spar hundreds of rounds and no one has done to him what you done to him. So that unreal class. His own trainer was speaking to me a few days later. Said, wow, the way you're performing gave me goosebumps to watch. I made him look silly. And that's not me just saying it for effect. He had a metal bar head guard on what we call bitch guards from where I'm from, because they give you a full sense of security. When you've got a bitch guard, you can just tuck up, hide up. I'd punch his head in. Like, he got beat by Maruti, who didn't really get close to beating me, let's be real. Yeah, and you can say what you want and about how you will, but Maruti is a better fighter than him. Do you know what I mean? Fact. I'd punch his head in. So he could get it, and he can get it if he really, really wants it. But it's one of them that it's going to have to make sense.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to make sense for me. Sorry, someone's just calling me. It's gonna have to make a whole lot of sense for me, because otherwise, I'm not in the business of giving handouts for no reason. I'm gonna make sure his pennies get pinched as much as I can, because I'm gonna be asking for more, just out of the disrespect. Do you know what I mean? Coming out here, then all this thing to try and build a fight. You can do that, and I'll go back and forth with you until the cows gone home, because I'm here for that. I argue with idiots on Twitter and call their missuses fat and stuff. I can definitely argue with someone that I'm going to fight. Do you know what I mean? That's easy. I would love that. But at the same time, I'm the champ. You're the champ. You fought for the same title 3 years ago, whenever it was, and got beat, right? So just work your way up the rankings, really, before you start mentioning names like mine. You was meant to fight Ryan Farag, and that fight never happened. Maybe go back, fight him. Clear that up first. See if you can beat him, because you might even come past Ryan Farag. You got to remember, I did what I did to Maruti. I did it to Farag all that time ago. But that doesn't mean Farag's washed it or passed it, or you got to remember, my style was a very hard one to beat. So yeah, maybe Mohammed Waseem should clear up that unfinished business with Farag before he starts really thinking about the big dogs at the weight. Obviously, now I'm a big dog at the weight now. I mean, IBF, big dog. You know what I'm saying? So, but I get it though. I would feel tight too. I would, if I was him, say if we flipped it, yeah, he came to my gym, punched my head in for 8 rounds, then went and beat the person that beat me for the world title that I wanted. I'd hate me too. So it makes sense that he's, carrying such animosity towards me. It makes sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. But yeah, and with that fight, we're both managed by the same people. So it's a very easy conversation to have if they want to make that fight. I'm not scared of no one, especially not Mohammed Waseem. I've been in the ring with him and punched his head all over the place. But that stands for anyone. I'm looking really at bigger fish than him. I'll be real with you. I want Martinez, because everyone's saying that he'd knock me out still. So that's really who I'd, if you gave me the ideal situation, it would be fighting him for big money, because I'd get it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my big money fight at the moment. And then beat him, and then I'm the man, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. I love the confidence. I love the energy that's flowing with all of this. I love it.
Yeah, but it's been flowing for a longer time. People are just listening to me now. I've got a world title attached to my name. But I've not, people have come on my live and that today saying, "Oh, I love how you haven't changed since one of I'm not going to change. It's just I've got 3 belts that look exactly the same as that in my trophy cabinet. You know what I mean? The IBF internationals. So these belts and the plaudits and whose record on mine and having that scalp, it's all nice, but still got to do it again next time out. I can't live on that forever. You know what I mean? It's got a long way to go. I'm only 25. Got a whole lot of fights to come, and my confidence now obviously probably is brimming more than ever. But so it should, because I know no one in this world is doing that to Maruti. No one. I know that maybe some of the champions out there might be better than him now, but they're not doing that to him. They're having proper hell and high waters to get through it. They're having a proper barnstorm because no one hurts him. No one hurts him, and few people punch harder than him. He's a knockout artist. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But yeah, there's going to be a lot now people that mention my name, and I'm ready for the big target on my back. But don't just think because I replied to him that they're in my head, because it's really not that. I replied to everyone.
I was going to say, I've seen you reply to lads on boxing Twitter before, so I'm sure that if you
I'm
thought
the king of
everyone you
boxing
replied
Twitter
to,
now. I'm the king of boxing
everyone
Twitter
you
now.
replied to, your resume, you'd have 5,000 fights by the end of your career.
Yeah, because I'm a very, very reactive person. I don't tweet people first. I just sit there. But one thing about my personality and my makeup is that I have to have the last say. No one ever has it more than me, because I've got more free time than anyone. So I'm already going to beat most people because I ain't got to do nothing else apart from train. I can put my phone down for an hour or two and then come back to it.
Yeah.
And I tap fast as well. I'm a part of boxing Twitter, so with that comes the like sort of the national wars that goes on every time a British fighter fights pretty much anyone from anywhere in the world, but especially the Mexicans and stuff right now. They're really giving it to us, aren't they? Let's be real. We're down on the scoreboard at the moment in some of these fights, but we've got a good little lineup now to get that back. Yeah, we've got a good little lineup coming through to get some of these points back, and you know what I mean. And I feel like Billy, if he goes over there and dethrones the king of boxing, then that will just be one big massive scalp for our little island of Britain. Do you know what I mean?
Just a few rocks off of Europe. That's all we are.
Yeah, and we haven't got the biggest, but we're a proud nation, and that's why people probably are more getting behind me now, because Britain boxing, world boxing needed a win. You know what I mean? We did. Let's be real, we did. So yeah, man, it's good to be the person that has managed to give that to the British fans, because there is a lot of boxing people that kind of they want to stick in the sport their own, and that's what they get out of boxing when they go and fight the other countries or the Americans come over. It's like that's a part of it for a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? It's the nationalism and the national pride and whatnot. So yeah, being one of the 6 male British champions, British world champions at the moment, along with people that pretty much I was on GB squads with or been in gyms with and whatnot. It's good, and it's good to be up there now with the big boys, even though I'm 5'3". This is good to
Looking
be.
up.
Yeah, it's good to be. It's good to be. I mean, I've seen a couple of British top 10 pound for pound lists that I've sneaked into. You know what I mean? So
Collect all the belts and you'll be in the real one. Collect a couple, maybe you'll be in the real one.
Yeah, I mean, if I beat Martinez, if he ever gives me the chance, yeah, people have to really, really start taking notice then. Really start taking notice then.
Right, well, like I said, Sonny, thanks for jumping on. Have a nice rest of the day, and I'll speak to you very soon. Well done once again. Although you nearly gave me a heart attack for them 12 rounds, you done it. So
yeah,
happy days.
That's part of the show. You know what I mean? That's
feel like part of the show.
Making it look easy all 12 rounds. You know what I mean? That's people say they want my fights more exciting. Okay, that's how we do it. We need to get knocked out.